Hey there, so this is your bonus reading, and we're going to start today with Gemini. We're in Gemini for another few days till we move into Cancer sign, and I'm putting this up for the Tuesday the 18th of the month of June, and we're going to get the weeklies will also be up later this week, Geminis. So what I'm going to start out with first is healing with the angels. Now this set of oracle cards was sort of decommissioned apparently by the actual gal of the PhD, Dorothy Virtue, and I quite like them. I think that they make a tremendous amount of sense. When certain things come up with some of my clients, I'll say to them, careful, especially with body care, because it usually does represent that there's a health issue ahead. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take one of these just to get a look at, okay, the remainder of June, what is it that Gemini is going to really resolve? Now you've got Jupiter here. You've also got this full moon in Capricorn. This is also a very interesting energy, especially when it's linked to who you work with, who you're for, especially Gemini ascendant, because it's sitting in that 8th house. So let's just see. So the first thing you've got in your reading here that's come out actually is spiritual growth. So I would say that I would pay attention to your interactive relationships with others. I would pay attention to what it is that does and does not influence you, that you sense, your dream state at night. Something with spiritual growth represents circumstance. And it doesn't always have to be that it's the best, fabulous scenario. Some people go through a difficult time, but it aids them in self-development. So I would say starting this whole story is this spiritual growth. There's something very, very important about that ahead. Now we're going to go on just with a regular rider deck, and we're going to take out 5 cards for the remainder of this month. And again, this is your bonus reading, Gemini. It's quite interesting. A lot of it is vision, and this makes total sense to me because you've got a lot of that. Now, the first thing that's shown up in here again is this Knight of Cups. Now, the Knight of Cups is an interesting, well, for those of you that didn't really get to see it, the Knight of Cups. This is a really interesting energy because there's many philosophies about the Knight of Cups. I often believe that the individual is not easily understood by others. I remember 30 some odd years ago when I started doing these readings, I worked at a tea room that had been quite famous. It was the Cozy Room. So many people still remember me from there. I still have clients from then, as friends as well as clients still. And one of the guys there, his name was John Deere. He was a very famous psychic in Toronto, very clairvoyant, audio clairvoyant and visually clairvoyant. He talked to me once about the Knight of Cups. And he said the Knight of Cups is a highly misunderstood individual that is self-meaning. Now, meaning that he has an objective. So there's a subtext. And if you study acting, you know that there's texts that are really highly representative of your behavior. There's a subtext. And love, of course, is the highest. Thank you again, Michael Shurtleff and Ginger Howard Friedman, who I knew very well. And one of the things that this represents sometimes could be you. That you, Gemini, have to just be aware of what are your objectives, what's going on here, what's the objective. It could very well also be somebody else that greatly influences you based upon objective. Then you've got, of course, these arrows of love, which is not always about love. It has to do with pursuit again of objective. I'm passionate about, therefore, this is my objective in regards to the overall plan. Now you've got Jupiter here. This makes total sense. Maybe a little bit to do with the Jack of Hearts could also be too, that you start to recognize that this isn't about other people. You don't need to impress by way of sharing information or interaction. It's about what you hope to achieve. World cards here, which is transformation, which the whole world's going through. Remember, the full moon in Capricorn Friday is really going to affect the whole world. It's part of the Grand Cross, not religious again, to do with Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, and Libra, and the North Node is in Aries, which, a lot of people are seeing on a world level is Mars, and Mars is war. There is some dangers here. There is some pressure. But the worldliness also represents the fact, Gemini, that something will come to culmination. I don't mean ending. The Death card is transformation, conclusion. The World card also is culmination, meaning that something comes all full circle. And some Geminis, I have one of my clients, Gemini, who just lost their partner, but the partner had been sick for a very long time. So that's there. And again, it's Mercury, which is very much communication, you're ruled by that. And Jupiter, of course, is your house of relating, which is Sagittarius sitting with you together. So this is a pretty powerful and important time. Then you had a bit of anxiety. Every Gemini, my mom was Gemini, my ex-partner's Gemini, I have a lot of Gemini friends. Geminis do suffer from an internal anxiety. And remember, Gemini, you cannot run from things. You know, when a few people have said to me, but I don't need the drama. Life is drama. You know, this is one thing that really gets me, because I'm not somebody that wants to initiate, but I'm sorry, go into a court of law, go into a parliamentary discussion, go into a labor room, go in when somebody's passing away and leaving one dimension for the next. Life is drama. It is about how we relate to situation. I've never been to a slaughterhouse except when I was a boy, and I won't eat pig anymore because of it, because what my father wanted us to understand, because we weren't eating our dinner. And he was mad. He grew up on a farm and he was a butcher. And, you know, it was right that he did it, because it made us see the truth. So there's a lot going on in here about where is this anxiety coming from and what can you do to change it. This is some time, you know, needed. So remember, you're going into your second house, presumably, because we don't know if you're ascendant. Even if you're a Gemini sun, that's still your solar chart. That can mean maybe needing a little holiday in your second house. If you're invited, you do go somewhere, even though you might be a bit angst. If situations are developing that are making you angst now through July 1st, just take some time out. You know, I've had a little bit something going on. I was away yesterday filming something and with a good friend, and you know, I felt a little funny, but I'm feeling great today because I've done my cold FX. But anyway, all I can say is your reading isn't negative. Something is culminating. You can also have something economically culminate, because you've got that transition with the full moon in Capricorn, again about other people's money, and you're moving into your money house, self-image house with Cancer sign. You heard it here first. I am available for personal consultations, which it really is the best. Give me a birdingle. That was a joke one of my teachers used to say in LA as well. LA's been on my mind a lot lately. Anyway, so I wish you guys all the best, and you heard it here first. And please subscribe, follow, and share this so we can get this really moving. I want to get over 500, because once you get really going, I can do a phone in or a write in where you guys can write into me and I can do something live, and you can ask some questions and I can actually answer them in regards to what's going on. Wish you all the best.